As long as I don't blow him up with a bunch of C4 later on, we're going to be fine.
You really need to get the hat that pulls over your ears.
There we go.
And put a little Kenny Loggins on.
I'm all right, baby.
Chuck, did you ever talk to Levi about when he could do his?
Yeah, yes, with all the conviction of a teenager, we can go ahead and slot him in for the 29th if you'd like to.
Yeah, I would. That's the next opening. So then we're good for all of May.
Perfect.
Thank you, John. That's awesome.
Hey, John, if you add the names into the site, then I'll decorate them out like I normally do.
Yeah, I've been doing that. I just haven't put Levi in there yet.
You know what? I think I might have just dropped his name in there just as a placeholder. I think it said placeholder.
For the 29th?
I think I did, actually.
Gary, I don't know if you noticed, but you might have been volunteered to do the inspiration next week.
Really?
Someone in this panel that volunteered you.
All right. So, Tim, I got a comment on your background photo. It took me a couple of sips of coffee to realize what I was looking at. But, yeah, very good.
Oh, yeah.
Boy.
That's not my head exploding, in case everyone's wondering.
So just so you know, I have not one but two climbing permits for Mount St. Helens later this summer. One in September, one in August, and one in September. So I've never climbed it, but it's looking like it's going to happen.
Oh, awesome. That's cool.
Tim, that'd be a good backdrop for a hangover.
There you go. All right, everybody ready to get started? Just nod your heads. There we go. Welcome to the Rotary Club of Sherwood meeting for Friday, May 15th. Best place to be to Zoom at 6:45 a.m. on a Friday morning. Better than cleaning up the ash. Since John, you kind of clued into where I was going this morning. On Monday, let's see, 15th, yeah, Monday will be May 18th, the 40-year anniversary of the eruption, the big eruption of Mount St. Helens. It actually started erupting, I think, about a month and a half before that, but the big one was on May 18th. So I thought I'd share some pictures. Raise your hand if you were here for that eruption.
Well, I was in Oregon.
You were in Oregon. I was actually a Boy Scout at that period in my life, and we were camping in the Willamette Valley when it erupted, and I remember hearing it and watching it that morning when we were making breakfast at camp. But this is, and I'll get to a little bit more later, but that's Spirit Lake, and for those of you who haven't, I'm sure you've all seen a picture. That's Mount St. Helens before the eruption. That's before the big eruption, and John probably knows all this in detail, but the whole north side of the mountain was bulging big time. I can't remember the rates, but it was a couple meters a day, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Which ultimately ended up, being kind of the source of the eruption. But there was also
Harry Truman.
Harry Truman, yes, not the president. There, for those of you who don't know, there was a guy who ran a lodge up on Spirit Lake on the way up to the mountain there, and he refused to leave. He was quite the character and interviewed by quite a bit of media at the time, and obviously he lost his life in the eruption when that whole segment of the mountain, when the mountain, John, if I remember right, the landslide.
Yeah, he is still there, but he's about 600 feet deep.
Yeah, under the ash flow and pyroclastic flow. Is that right?
Yeah, Nuée Ardente, if you're into the French term. But yeah, it was a huge landslide, and my relatives in Vancouver, BC, actually heard the landslide. It was that loud, and that was the direction, that the sound waves went. And I was fortunate enough that I had a crazy, so I was in my freshman year of geology, and I had a crazy instructor since passed at Southwest Oregon Community College. They actually named a building after him, a new building recently. But he took us there 2 weeks after the big eruption. We got to go in the red zone. We got all the special permission. We got pulled over by cops like 3 times, and he had to show the papers. But it was a great field trip going in there and seeing, just, square mile after square mile of flattened trees. And so really, really neat place.
I am very jealous. Some of you may know that there was 2 camps up there, one for the Girl Scouts, one for the Boy Scouts. When I was a Boy Scout before the eruption, not after, actually attended the Boy Scout camp up there. So it kind of hit a little close to home for me. I kind of wish we still had those facilities up there, but that's kind of a map of Spirit Lake. That map's completely changed. There's some pictures from the old camp that was up there prior to 1980. That's the landslide that John was talking about. John, if I remember right, it's the largest landslide ever recorded.
I think so. I think I've heard that. So I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that's the case.
Yeah. And that's what it looked like from the mountain after the eruption. You can see how it pretty much wiped out everything for miles and miles and miles. And Spirit Lake was lifted 197 feet as part of the eruption. But you wonder, you probably, and this isn't quite today. This is probably in the late 1980s, early 1990s. The dome's not as big, but that's what the mountain looks like for the most part today. There was a eruption in the early 2000s, and I was flying around with one of my students when I was still teaching kids or people how to fly helicopters. And we were actually up flying north of Portland when Mount St. Helens erupted, which was kind of cool. I wish I'd had my camera when that happened. And then I thought I'd end this with a Rotary note. Rotary was there during that eruption. The Rotary Club of Longview started getting phone calls about how, from other clubs, about how they could help out with the relief fund during that. As most of you may know, that 90 people died, about 90 people died during that eruption, and many, many people lost their homes, et cetera. So the Rotary Club of Longview set up a fund, started collecting money, and started helping people out in the communities up there, which I thought was pretty cool. I, on a hunch, just thought I'd search for this. It's kind of hard to find stuff pre-internet, but it was out there, which was cool. So anyways, that's our morning minute.
Very impressive, Tim. Very impressive.
Thank you. Very interesting.
So, so now we'll do the pledge. I thought I'd take us all down a little bit of memory lane for this one. So if you're all ready for the Pledge of Allegiance, there's a little bit of an intro here, but feel free to follow along.
I don't hear anything.
Not yet.
Are you guys not hearing anything?
No, there's no sound.
Okay, stand by. I think I can fix that. I gotta hear it.
I kind of feel like we should do it like an instant poll. Is it going to be Bugs Bunny, Porky Pig? Who's it going to be?
All right, can you ever, let's see here. Oops.
I'm voting Bugs Bunny.
Can you hear it now? One of you guessed correctly.
It's Porky Pig.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. I hope you enjoyed that. Travis,
Thank you.
your son was adorable during that. That was awesome. You may have noticed in that one they didn't have the "under God" phrase.
Mhm.
That was that came out during World War II for the troops, and that was before they added that phrase.
1954.
Yep. Kind of interesting history note there. Anyway, so welcome to our meeting. Maureen, I believe you're doing our inspiration today.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. I kind of in keeping with Tim's, what happened today theme that we generally go through. Excuse me. I'm not sure how true this is, but because I really couldn't find any further detail on it. But on this day in 1980, the first transcontinental balloon crossing of the United States took place. So I thought, well, I wonder what kind of balloon quotes I could find. And so Linda Poindexter, who's a writer, humorist, cartoon, captionist, author of quips and quotes, and a country music singer. I got this quote from her: "Life is like a balloon. If you never let yourself go, you'll never know how far you can rise."
Ooh.
That's a good one.
Good.
Very nice.
That one.
Say it again. Say it again.
Sure. Life is like a balloon. If you never let yourself go, you'll never know how far you can rise.
Nice.
Doggone, you get your head out of the clouds, Maureen. Jeez.
I was like, well, I'll probably never find a balloon quote, but here we are.
Actually, I find balloons that have fallen into the orchard. Do you suppose there's a story beyond that?
I don't know.
Each
Have to
one
look
has
that
its
up.
own story.
Yeah. Yes, probably so. Some of those who rose are destined to fall, I suppose.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Maureen.
All working in the cloud.
Yeah. I believe we have one guest this morning. Or am I missing a guest? I think I'm missing a guest. Our friendly high school counselor is in the room this morning. She's going to be doing our program today. Thank you for joining us. On the anniversaries, Lynette, I thought you weren't going to be here. Maybe I got an old email stuck, but do we have any anniversaries?
No anniversaries.
Any birthdays people are hiding from us this morning? Nope. All right, and Wendy, do we have any update on Youth Exchange?
Just have been sending some notes back and forth between Callie, who is coming in from Germany, hopefully in August, and she hopes to be able to possibly join our meeting in one of the weeks in the future. So thankful for Zoom, because it does give us a little easier reach for people that are not right here with us.
Great. We have to be on our best behavior, otherwise she won't come. Thanks, Wendy.
Awesome. Thanks, Wendy. I think that covers that. Chuck, how is Levi adjusting to home life?
He's got 3 more days left in hard quarantine, and then he's on whatever the new social distancing guidelines are. But I think he's definitely chomping at the bit to get out of here. But he's got his sleep schedule's getting more back into a normal teenager sleep schedule versus the waking up at 4 a.m. and going for a run that I think was a product of a severe case of jet lag.
Gotcha.
All in all, doing okay. Still Skypes, and I occasionally hear him speaking German with some of his friends.
Awesome. Thank you. Let's go ahead. In terms of, let's talk about what's happening. Last weekend we had our road cleanup. Darby, you want to give a report on how that went?
We went, we picked, we left.
Awesome.
But it was actually very clean. I was quite surprised there wasn't half as much garbage as I thought. So we had a good turn, I think 9 people. So thank you to all.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. There's just as a note, for most of you that know, the fundraising event, the Boots and Bling event for the Police Foundation in Sherwood was canceled for obvious reasons, but they are having a online fundraising auction that started yesterday and it runs through Sunday, 14th through the 16th, or actually that'd be through tomorrow. But anyways, if you go on Facebook and go to their website, you can participate in that auction as they raise money this year to support our police department. And I think the rest is old news. We had a board meeting last week and the Peace Committee met, we have board meeting coming up on the 8th and a Peace Committee on the 1st of June. Anything I missed? No, this is becoming a very quick and easy part of our Friday morning meetings. All right, so we're going to go on to Bragg's. Our Sergeant of Arms, Mike McSweeney, do you want to take us through that?
Will do. Good morning, everyone. I'll give you a few minutes to unmute yourself when I call your name, and we'll get started. Kind of make it quick so we give a little extra time for our guest speaker today. So we're going to start with Chuck this morning. Chuck, do you have anything?
I will brag on Kate Noreen for filling in for me in the pinch whilst I was supposed to be at a foundation board meeting and found myself in a long socially distanced line at Costco and then with a dead car battery in the Costco parking lot, which segues into bragging on myself for actually replacing my car battery in the middle of the Costco parking lot.
Oh,
nice.
That's all.
Gary, do you have anything? Oh, sorry. Gary, you have anything this morning?
I worked one day this week, worked Monday. So slow start. I should get 2 days next week, and then we'll have, Memorial Day off because we wouldn't want to tax ourselves. It's a little sad because today I should be leaving to go to Guatemala for the best week of anesthesia of the year in the surgical mission, but obviously I'm here. But glad to be at work a little bit.
That's good. Gary, do you have anything?
Just good morning and happy Friday to everybody.
All right, thank you. Stefan, you have anything this morning?
Sure. So I missed last week. So the week before, that Friday was Sabina's birthday. So given all the constraints, we ended up doing a picnic in the park in Portland. Our kids came. So unusual, but still a birthday party. So and then last week was just very eventful. I think I talked about him being scheduled to go to Korea, so he left Korea last Thursday. So they are over there in an apartment, looking down at the ocean and waiting out there 2 weeks time, but in good spirits as far as we can tell. We Skype and talk frequently, and then on Monday this week, Stephanie accepted a job. So I think I mentioned that she had offers, but she was holding back because her boyfriend didn't have a place yet. But turns out on that very Monday, he got a job at Intel, defended his thesis, she took a job. So it's been a little bit of a firework of events in the Schulze family here over the weekend. So, but all good news. So we are very excited.
That's awesome. Travis, do you have anything this morning?
Oh, thanks, Tim, for giving Porky Pig to my son this morning. No, I also want to brag on Wendy just for taking the initiative there on the youth committee and just pulling everything together, getting things ready for next year. And I think we're going to have a pretty strong committee. So thank you, Wendy, for taking the leadership on that and just getting us pumped for next year.
All right, thank you, Travis. Jeff, do you have anything this morning?
Sure, I'll bring on Bruce. Thank you, Bruce, for joining us at our road cleanup. It was a pleasure getting to spend a little time and getting to meet you.
I enjoyed it.
All right, Joe, do you have anything this morning?
Just a couple things. It's Aloha Friday. Bruce, you don't look very Hawaiian. What's up with that?
It's business in Honolulu.
Ah,
I don't know.
that's fine. Just a piece of advice to John, and you're always prepared, but when we did Mount St. Helens a few years ago in August, we never reached the top because of a unexpected snowstorm. So make sure you dress appropriately. As you guys know, it can snow at any point, but we were shocked. We were not prepared.
That's good. Yeah, I'd kind of forgotten about that. I'm sure Barry would know that, but yeah, we will we'll make sure that we're not caught without adequate preparation.
Yeah, it was a total whiteout, so we didn't make it.
Okay. Karen, do you have anything this morning?
Not too much. Just this past week, I was able to help volunteer at my church's food pantry, which they have been able to keep going during this time. So it's fun to get out and do something helpful.
All right, thank you. Darby, do you have anything this morning?
Just a public service announcement for you car enthusiasts. The World of Speed is permanently closed in Wilsonville. I know Jeff and I are shedding a tear, but other than that, TGIF.
Yeah, I was kind of sad to hear that too, because I never had a chance to make it over there yet. So
Yeah, it was a nice place. It's kind of sad to lose it from the area.
Not only did we lose Cars and World of Speed, but it was the location for Cars and Coffee. So every Saturday morning there was a car show. I hope we find another close replacement.
I bet Matt would let you gather in his parking lot.
It's not big enough.
all right, John, do you have anything this morning?
Nope, nothing for me today.
Bruce, how about you this morning? Anything?
I just enjoyed working last Saturday with the group. That's all I really have to add.
Awesome. Maureen, do you have anything this morning?
Not really. Sweet Tomatoes closed permanently too, so that made my husband really sad. But nothing else.
Mark, do you have anything this morning?
Not much. Maybe just a shout out to all the retail establishments that are supposed to open today across the state.
Well, hopefully everybody stays safe and keeps that social distancing going. Maya, do you have anything this morning?
Not much. I just wanted to say thanks to Darby for giving me an opportunity to get out and do something, even if it was just picking up a little bit of trash, but that was good to get out. So thank you.
Doug, do you have anything this morning?
Jan made it to North Carolina. It takes 2 days to get from here to Fayetteville because there is no way to connect a flight in the middle. Who knew? It used to be a much easier thing. No, Stuart is looking incredibly good. I was very surprised. He looks great. So all of his trials and tribulations, he's working it through, and yeah, we'll see how this week goes. So good.
That's good.
That's awesome. Lynette, do you have anything this morning?
God, it's Friday and we have another weekend upon us.
How about you, Fred? Anything this morning?
No, just wishing everybody a happy weekend.
Wendy, do you have anything this morning?
Just had a really great Mother's Day. Both of my girls were home, which was amazing. And thankful to Darby for putting together the cleanup. And if I didn't have my out-of-town guests, I would have been there too. I'm glad you guys had a great turnout. And that's about it.
Thank you, Wendy. Ben, do you have anything?
Yeah, we were supposed to fly from Shannon in Ireland home yesterday, and I guess we missed the plane. But we did get a voucher so that we can use it any time in the future. And then the other thing that every time I see photos of Mount St. Helens, I just can't get over the idea that instead of the north side blowing off. What if the south side had blown off? It would be a totally different picture here today.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Ben. Anything this morning, Jane?
Yes, I want you to know that I found my badge. And I imagine we're going to put it back at some point. And there it is. I've got my lanyard. And I'm very busy tutoring my grandchildren. I'm an online teacher, and it's been quite a learning experience.
Awesome. You know you're going to get fined for having your badge at home, right?
I know, but now I know where it is.
Yeah.
I think we should have a unique fine, like bringing cake for our first meeting together or something fun.
Oh,
And Jane, bring it for me too, because mine's at home. So bring cake for me as well.
Yes.
And pie.
Yes.
Darby can bring the pie, Jane can bring the cake, and we'll have some fun fining.
Sounds
You know, those fines are cumulative, so the longer this lasts and it stays at home, the more pies we get to eat.
Yeah,
Hey, Mike, what's your address, Mike? Mike, I need your address. I'm dropping it off.
No, it's safer with me. You know the thing we say, safer at home? This
Yeah.
thing is safer with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Jamie, do you have anything? I see you piped in kind of late here.
Sorry about that. I'm late, and so I owe a fine for that. So maybe I'll be bringing pie as well. And Darby again for organizing the garbage pickup. Who knew picking up garbage could be so much fun? But you know, it's just when you're sharing the time together with really great people, you know, and you can do anything. So thanks for that, and I hope everybody has a great weekend.
Awesome. Renee, I'm assuming you're driving, so we'll let you be here unless you want to add something.
I don't have anything.
All right, thank you. And then I don't have anything this morning. We'll finish it off with Tim.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. Big thanks to Darby for organizing that outing. It was nice to get out and interact with folks beyond my family, which was amazing. So that was a lot of fun. So big thanks for setting that up. And just a thanks to the club in general, and especially Karen for all the work she does. Just so everyone knows, the club did send a sympathy note card to Keith, and we are making a donation of $100 in his sister's name to the Girl Scout troops in the local area. His sister was heavily involved in Girl Scouts, and her daughter Taylor was a Girl Scout all through high school. So the club is doing that for Keith as well. So Karen, thank you for organizing that and setting that up. And that is it. So we will go back to this, I think, if I can make this share again. So, John, do you want to introduce our speaker?
Yes, thank you. So this morning we have Yvonne Van Andel, who's a counselor at the Sherwood High School, and she's going to let us know kind of what our kids and our neighbors' kids are going through as they prepare themselves for maybe the summer and upcoming fall classes, given our current state of the world. And actually, Yvonne is going to kind of introduce herself with her own little bio here. So, Yvonne, we're all yours. Thank you.
And Yvonne, I'm in the process of making you co-host. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, thank you. So thanks for inviting me to join you this morning so bright and early. I don't know about you guys, but since this stay-at-home order, my schedule has changed a bit and morphed, and I find myself more like on a vampire schedule where I stay up really late. That's when I'm most productive. So this is the first time I've gotten myself together this early in the morning. I'm going to try to share my screen with you. At school, we've been using the Google Hangouts for meetings. And so my Zoom says Chloe because my daughter uses this for her ballet lessons.
I'm so glad you said that because I was going to ask.
Yeah, I'm not Chloe. My name is Yvonne.
Now I can pay attention.
Okay, here we are. And I have to get rid of my face because I hate to see myself while I'm talking. So good morning. Thanks for having me. I'm Yvonne Van Andel. I'm a school counselor at Sherwood High School. I've been there for 15 years. This is my 15th school year, so quite some time. This year I have sophomores with the last names L through Z. Next year we're changing how we manage our caseloads, and we're going to just straight alphabet. So we'll have all students, seniors, down through freshmen with last names HN through MG. So that's how we divide up our workload. Previously, before becoming a school counselor, I had lots of roles, but a couple of them I worked in residential treatment, and I was a Job Corps admissions officer. But of all my jobs, this is definitely the best job ever, and I'm just so privileged to work in our community, and I just love my job because it's definitely never boring. I'm a Sherwood resident. I have twins that are in 5th grade. This is kind of an older picture of us. It was all I could find last night when I was making this presentation. They go to Middleton, and I have an older daughter who is away in Nebraska at college. Some of the roles that I do besides being a regular school counselor at Sherwood High School, I've been over the years really focused on helping our students with drug and alcohol issues and supporting them in that. But this past year, we got a grant and a partnership with Youth Contact, and we now have a full-time drug and alcohol counselor in-house in our building. Her name is Erica Jones, and she's fabulous. And so we're just really pleased to have her working with our students. So I have less of that to do, but I serve on a couple of meetings and things like that. I'm also the Expanded Options Program Coordinator, and in that role, I help connect students to courses at PCC, and students take those courses and then we pay the tuition, so it's a really great benefit for our students. I also focus a lot on just all things PCC, just because of working through Expanded Options. I've connected with a lot of our PCC staff, so I kind of help students navigate the PCC process. And I've really focused in the last 5 years on trades and apprenticeships. I've been just really trying to provide more opportunities for our students, and so just connecting with both union and non-union trades and apprenticeships, places like Northwest College of Construction, et cetera. So that's been a little bit about my focus. And then also, I am the program coordinator for our foreign exchange program. So speaking of that, I'll give you a little update about our exchange program. You know, Rotary has really been sort of the backbone of our program over the years, and just an excellent partner. And so I just really appreciate all of your support. So thank you so much. This year, we had 6 students as usual. It's a part of our board policy that we can have 6 students each year, and they have to be from 6 different countries. And unfortunately, we lost one to homesickness pre-pandemic, so we had one go home. And then shortly after the shutdown, kind of like dominoes, 4 more went home. Incidentally, I got to participate in the kind of going away parade for Tom, so that was like a really fun opportunity to get to wave bye to him one last time. But we do have one lone holdout from Spain, and she is finishing out the year with us, and then she's going to be going home in mid-June. For next year, we have a new 6 students that we've selected, including yours from Germany, but also Spain, Italy, Denmark, Sweden, and France. And so we're really hoping that it's going to be safe for them to join us, and that we're going to have 6 exchange students to start the fall. So just a little bit more about school counseling in general. You know, I think a lot of times, you know, people know that school counselors are helpers, but they don't know exactly like, what is it that you really do every day? So just a little bit about that. You know, we really see ourselves as advocates, you know, assisting our students, removing barriers to academic and personal success, just helping them become lifelong learners, responsible citizens, ready to contribute to their community. So we just partner with parents, teachers, community members, and then the students directly to help them through their school years. So I have this slide that's just kind of showing a little bit about what my duties were pre and post pandemic. It's kind of flipped everything upside down. I never realized how difficult it would be to do my job via, virtual means, because my work is all about relationships. So previously, I spent most of my time meeting individually with students, parents, and staff, consulting, doing classroom guidance lessons, meeting with team members about students, and then I had some kind of email and clerical tasks. And now that we're at home, it's really just kind of flip-flopped on its head, and I'm doing mostly email and clerical tasks. I spend a lot of my time answering emails from students, parents, and teachers about distance learning. So that's been a big learning curve for all of us, and there's a lot of questions. Also, as far as clerical tasks, we've just been really doing a lot of planning and reviewing. Just example, with seniors, we had about 420 individual transcripts to review, and we were, partway through the process when ODE came out with new guidance, and we had to kind of start over again. So they tend to do that, like release guidance at about 10 p.m. at night, and then we wake up in the morning and whoops, we have some more work to do. So it's just been a lot of trying to plan, trying to prepare, getting our students ready to make sure they meet graduation requirements. It's a little bit like shooting at a moving target, because sometimes, we're just trying to come up with plans A through Z so that we're prepared, basically. As far as challenges during this time, obviously, we try to look at them as opportunities for growth, but technology and Wi-Fi has been a bit of a challenge for our students. We're very lucky and blessed to live in a district where we have one-to-one technology for our students, and our district also really quickly ordered a bunch of hotspots so that our kids could have internet access. But as you know, when everybody is working at home and trying to do distance learning, everybody's getting frustrated with each other about, trying to stream all at the same time or video chat all at the same time. So our students are reporting that they have connectivity issues, which kind of is a challenge while they're trying to do distance learning. Also, for our students with special needs, those that are on individualized education plans or 504s, when they have medical needs, or our English language learners, it's been very difficult for us to provide the services that we want to, because we're used to being able to just partner with those students side by side at school in person. And so it's just been a challenge trying to figure out how we can really serve those students. Some of our kids are reporting some issues about just feeling isolated, the lack of connections. One of the things that we really do well at Sherwood High School, I feel like, is build relationships with our students. And so when they just don't have that daily connection with their teachers and the other staff, and especially their peers, that's difficult for our students. Along that same note, a lot of our curriculum is really collaborative. And so students are used to working together. Like, for example, in math class, they sometimes do like group work, team tests, and things like that. And so they're used to learning together. And so I think it's a little bit different when they're at home on their own. A lot of our students had health or mental health issues before all of this happened. And some of those are just magnified when they don't have the daily contact with their sources of support, or outside resources outside of their home. And so a lot of our students are participating in telehealth or counseling via video chat and things like that. But it's just, another challenge of this time. A lot of our families are reporting that they're super stressed because they're all trying to work together at home in the same space, and there's just a lot of issues around that. Some people, the systems are really stressed because they've lost their job, which leads to financial issues or food insecurity. A lot of the kids are reporting to me that they feel like distance learning is not their learning style. A lot of them are finding it hard to be motivated to work on their own from home. And then the main thing I would say is just the students are experiencing grief and loss, especially our seniors, our student athletes. They basically, have lost so much at the end of this year, with no prom, graduation is completely different, no sports events, they didn't get to do Bowman pageant, they missed a big band trip, countless other losses that they're just grieving, and they're not all together to give each other hugs like they normally would. So that being said, how do we move forward? How do we cope? There's a lot of helpers ready to dive in and support us. And I just love Fred Rogers. He's one of my favorites. He has some really wise words that I've sort of leaned into during this time of crisis. And I'm sure you've heard this quote before about helpers. And we have so many helpers here in Sherwood. I've just been like really inspired by everything I've seen going on to help support the community. So I just think that's really special. Coping and moving forward. Our Sherwood High School community during this time has really focused in every time we meet and every time we talk about just leading with love, making sure that kindness, grace, and support are our number one focus. Everything else can kind of fall into place and be fixed later, but we just really need to support each other during this time. So, we don't really know what the future holds. We continue to make lots of plans. Like I said, we have plans A through Z, and we just keep working on them every day and every week. And as information changes and comes in, then we move to plan B, C, D, and down the line. And we are all very much looking forward to the time when we can be back together again in our learning community, in our new building, hopefully. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm just really praying and hoping that that will be this fall. That's kind of how I'm coping right now, is just focusing on that we'll be together again. And if that changes, I'll adapt. But that's kind of my hope for the future, is that we're going to be together again in some fashion in the fall. But we really don't know. Now there's this uproar about budgets and everything else too. So we have to wait for the guidance from the state and the feds and ODE and everybody else. So not a lot of answers in that department. A few resources. We've really updated the front page of our counseling website at the high school with a lot of resources. So if you go to the Sherwood High School website and then you go under parent or student resources, you'll find the counseling college and career website. And right on the front page, we have a lot of resources, including the Washington County Crisis Line and other mental health helps and supports, things about academic guidance, college and career planning, how high stakes college testing has changed because of COVID, all of that kind of stuff. Also some personal social resources and financial resources for families. So we try to really keep that updated with resources. Also, last week we created a Facebook page. So if you just go to Facebook and search for Sherwood High School Counseling Center, you can follow us. And we've been posting resources there. For example, this spring we were supposed to have the college planning night for juniors, which we weren't obviously able to have. So our junior counselors put together a digital presentation and we posted it both on our website and then on the Facebook page as well. So that's a great resource for our junior families that are wondering what they should be doing right now to prepare for college. So just trying to keep that updated. And so if you could help us spread the word about that Facebook page so that we can connect to the community, that would be great and helpful. So thank you so much for allowing me to talk with you this morning. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys have, and just help out and partner with you in any way that I can.
I have a
Awesome.
question for you. I didn't hear the word bullying, which seems to be a lot in the news. I'm an older person now, so I don't have any little kids, but you do hear a lot about bullying and social media. Has that become a big part of your day?
I think definitely there's more like bullying and harassment that we see that happens at least starting via social media, and then sometimes that bleeds over into the school day setting. So yes and no. It's not as big as it has been in past years, but I think it's just more subtle now, and I would say more through social media.
Thank you.
Is construction still going on at the new high school?
Yes, so construction, all the reports that we've had is that construction is still going on, and in fact, they've kind of picked up the pace in some areas, and on time and on budget, as according to what we're seeing, and they're showing us pictures, and as of right now, they're hoping that we might be able to start moving in July. So.
Oh, nice.
Can I ask you, I don't know if I'm on, this is Bruce Coleman at the City of Sherwood. I don't know if you can hear me. So I got a question. So we've come across companies, now this was a few months ago, that have been interested in looking at student apprenticeships and internships. I think I came across maybe, I don't know, 10 companies at some event. And I'm wondering who's the best person at the school district to connect these with. Now, times have changed in the last few months, so I'm not sure how relevant some of them are, but they told me that they were looking for student connections.
Yeah, so next year, we're, at least the plan was that we're starting a new program through our Arch program that is, it sounds like just what you're saying, where we're gonna try to be connecting some students with apprenticeships and jobs in the community. And so if you just connect with me, you can email me, I can hook you up with the right person, and we can definitely connect with those business partners and get them going.
Thanks.
How many students are going to attend the high school? I mean, I know it changes daily, but at this point, how many are you planning for this fall?
We're planning for about 1,650 students currently.
Wow. That's big.
Yeah.
That's very big. Yeah.
My understanding is that the new high school capacity, as it's built, is for up to 2,400 students. And so hopefully we'll have a little extra room for a while. But they had to build it out for, you know, the anticipated growth in Sherwood.
Thank you.
For the seniors that graduated this year, have you had contact with some of them that are maybe wondering if their colleges are going to open up in the fall, or what their future is going to be?
Yeah, so there are a lot of questions about that, and it just varies by student and by college. And so like PCC, for instance, has already announced that their fall term will be virtual distance learning only, except for a very few programs that they'll be able to open up, like their diesel mechanics, for instance. You can't really do that online. So that's PCC, but some of the major public universities like University of Oregon have all announced that they will have in-person classes. So each college is making decisions kind of like we are as we go and trying to figure that out. So students are just waiting to hear. Most of the students are sort of still planning on starting college as planned, however that looks. I haven't heard a lot about waiting or doing gap years or things like that. I think that most students are ready to move forward with their plans. But it's just a little bit of like a waiting game and kind of, you know, just a little bit of anxiousness around what will be decided, and will those plans then continually change based on, you know, what happens with the pandemic and shutdowns and safety guidance and things like that.
Yeah, because a lot of students that are involved with college sports normally go early, say in August or so. And I mean, that shortens the timeline as well.
Yeah, also for our state schools and any agricultural school, most of them start pretty early in August. So
yeah.
Yeah, I have a quick question here. For the 8th graders coming into the high school, do you have any transition programs or any type of, kind of mentorship programs that high schoolers could get involved in kind of helping that transition? I think it used to be called like START or something. But is there some way that the Rotary high schoolers could get involved in helping 8th graders transition to the new high school?
Yeah, so the current programs that we have for transition is we counselors go down to the high school and do lessons with the kids on 2 different days at school. And then part of our plan was a 3rd day where we have our link leaders. So we have students that are juniors and seniors that apply for our program, and they get some training, and they're called link leaders. And our plan was to invite the link leaders to go visit the 8th graders in their classrooms at middle school. But that wasn't able to happen this year. And then on the first day of school, it's just the freshmen, any transfer student from, a different school or out of state, and then our exchange students. They have a whole day of programming in small groups, about 5 students with 2 link leaders, where they are sort of introduced as an orientation to the high school. And so as far as Rotary youth getting involved, we would just really encourage them to apply or become link leaders if they're interested in getting involved in that group. And then also like the Rotary Youth Club we have in the beginning of the year sort of a club fair where students can kind of advertise their club and recruit more students. And so that would be a great way to sort of get more new 8th graders involved with Rotary Youth.
Awesome, thanks.
So I have a quick question for you. It has to do with, it's a big debate going on in our house right now around the pass-fail program they've done. I have my overachiever is very upset because she enjoys seeing those A's, and my I'll just do what I have to do achiever loves it because she feels like she can just do it at the least. But we were having it. We're just curious, what is the logic behind going to the pass-fail system for the rest of this year?
Yeah, so that came from the state, really. Our first initial decision was that we were going to have A's, and then I think we were calling it incomplete at first. It was going to be either you got an A, like if you did what you needed to do in distance learning, you got an A, and if you didn't, you got an incomplete or a no grade. But then we were told by the state that we weren't allowed to have A's. So then we had to go to pass. But the logic behind either choice is really just to hold kids harmless. None of this is their fault and none of it is under their control. And so because of the circumstances, we just want to make sure that what's happening right now doesn't impact their future. And so we thought A's were better because then that would just, help everybody's GPA, but with passes, it doesn't impact your GPA at all, and neither does the no grade. So whether you earn credit this term or not, either way, you're held harmless and it doesn't impact your overall cumulative GPA. So that's kind of the reasoning behind it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hi, Yvonne. This is Fred. I'm just curious because my heart breaks for these seniors who, like you said, are missing out on these milestone events.
Yeah.
And I don't have kids in high school anymore. So is there a graduate? What are you guys doing to celebrate their achievements? Or are they just out?
Yeah. So a couple of things. It's been really difficult. We've been working with the student leadership team and then just polling all of the seniors about what they want, and then trying to make plans within the parameters of what we're allowed to do. So the first thing that the team decided was that we would pay for, so Adam's Screen Print is a local business that is making graduation lawn signs, like with students' pictures. And so the district decided that they would pay for every senior to have one of those signs that wanted one. So that was kind of the first thing that came out. And then just this week, they released the graduation plan, and it's going to be sort of a graduation week, the first week in June. And there's a menu of options for students and families depending on like what is happening in their family. So, well, backing up, first we had sort of a pick up your graduation gown and cap and that kind of stuff parade at school so that kids could get all of their stuff to be ready for graduation. So then during graduation week, the first option will be sort of a drive-through graduation at the stadium. So students will have a first station where they'll pick up all of their cords and their medals and all of the stoles and things that they've earned, and then they'll go to the next station, which is at the stadium, where their family, whoever's in the car with them, will be there, get to cross the stage. We'll have a professional photographer to take their picture, and they'll be handed their like diploma cover by the staff that's all properly socially distanced and wearing gloves and masks and stuff. And then everybody will get back in the car, go to the next station, and then our overnight, like our grad party committee will give them some prizes and some t-shirts and some of the things that they would have gotten at the overnight grad party. And so they're using their budget that would have gone to that to go to prizes and shirts and things like that for every senior. And then off they go. And so then the second option would be sort of a more socially distanced thing for students and families that don't want to leave their home for whatever reason. We would come to them with all of those things and drop off and have a picture on the porch or whatever they want to do that way. And then the third option would be just a no contact drop off, either drop off on the porch or through the mail or whatever works best for families, because there are some families that just don't feel comfortable with any contact right now. So we're just trying to give an option to everybody.
Cool, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Yvonne, for coming and sharing with us this morning. That was super interesting, and especially with COVID and everything going on right now, it's interesting to get that inside perspective. So thank you again.
Yeah.
And a shout out to Mike for encouraging the brags to go quickly, because we used every minute of our time for your presentation, Yvonne. So thank you. All right, so I am going to close out the meeting here. So I'm going to share my screen again. And there we go. All right, so our next meeting is May 15th. I'm sorry, that's not correct. It's May, help me with the math here. May 22nd.
22nd.
May 22nd. Thank you for that assist. I'll be leading, and Gary will be inspiring, and you can blame Doug for that, in case you're wondering. Anyway, so we'll go ahead and close out the meeting with the four-way test. I will give everyone a chance to unmute. All right, most of you are unmuted. So here we go, the four-way test of the things
we think, say, or do.
First,
is it the truth?
Is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Better friendships?
And fourth,
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. And we'll see you all next week. And thanks again, Yvonne, for being here this morning.
Thank you, Yvonne.
Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Yvonne.
And I will, everybody. Bye-bye. As always, I'll leave the meeting open here for a little bit if people want to chat.
Oh, leave meeting. Oh, wait.
Hello, let's eat this.
Hello. Hey, Tim, what's all this garbage about Washington County not opening up? I saw your post there.
Yeah, let's just say that myself and many of the electeds with cities around the county are pretty frustrated with the county right now. We had a meeting with the chair, Chair Harrington, on Monday. It did not go well. I may have got myself in the hot seat here because I was telling some people at the beginning of the meeting, I sent a tweet to Hey Dan from KGW, and they actually called me last night and they want to talk to me today. So I will see what comes out of that. But we're just frustrated because the only metric the county hasn't met is the contact tracing, as you're hearing about in the news. Our frustration comes from the fact that we've known about that requirement since early on in the pandemic. The Washington County already has 40 contact tracers as a normal part of their operation who have been doing contact tracing, coordinating with the state since early March. I have friends who have businesses that were called during that effort, so we know it's been going on. So we're frustrated they weren't ahead of that they weren't thinking about we need to hire and getting that in place, and they waited till basically the second week of May to start working on that problem. So we're also trying to figure out ways that we can help. We've offered, we have a bunch of librarians all through the county who already know our communities, many of them are bilingual. They understand the cultures that are involved here because 50% of our cases in Washington County are in our Hispanic community. So there's a workforce out there that could jumpstart this. So we're trying to get the county to think creatively. So anyways, that's a long-winded question, but there's a little frustration going on right now. I'll get off my soapbox.
No, we're right there with you. All right, guys. Well, happy Friday. Have a great weekend.
All right. See you later, Travis.
Bye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Done.
Tim, just be careful with those news folks. We learned, and I don't mean that in a terrible way, but our experience with my son in the media has been really, really eye-opening in terms of what you say and what gets put out there.
Yeah, I'm a little hesitant.
I mean, and it's not malicious. It's just the good old reporting and checking sources that I grew up used to is not there anymore.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm actually a little concerned about it because KGW's reporting has been more along the lines of, we're all in this together, just be patient,
right.
not willing to say maybe there are some issues going on that we need to be addressed. So yes, I appreciate the advice.
And I think ours was more, not so much like the original source, that was fine. It was the 16 people that picked up the story and rewrote it themselves and published it without any direct contact with you. And so then it's like playing telephone. And then the 14 that picked it up from one of the 16, and pretty soon you've got this story that you're like, wait, I didn't, and you have no recourse, you can't get it back. So as long as you're emotionally prepared, you're fine.
There you go. It's like, what's that old game, Telephone?
Yes, it's exactly like telephone.
Yeah.
But thanks for taking one for the team.
Well, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how the initial conversation goes.
Yeah.
So.
Well, so is it just Multnomah? I mean, because I've been reading stuff about Multnomah. It seems like Clackamas is the most ready of the three. And yesterday I saw something about them trying to open up June 15th.
Clackamas is the most ready. There's a lot of pressure from Multnomah County, Metro, and the state for all three counties to go together, which is another source of frustration in Washington County.
But I saw something yesterday about how they're now loosening that a little bit. I don't know if it's true or not, but saying that they were going to open together, but now they're saying it doesn't have to be exactly together, just generally together.
Yeah, and that might be because of all the noise they're hearing from the cities.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, and if you go to Multnomah County's website, they've added additional metrics above and beyond the governor's for their go no go decision.
What? I looked at that site, but which ones are theirs?
Oh,
is it the equality ones? The equity?
Yeah, and the equity is all a great thing, but that's not something, that's something you always work on. You don't have to have that 100% in place day one.
Right.
And they also want to set up testing sites in minority communities, which is fine too, but that doesn't have to be opened up day one. So
Right.
so it's going to be an interesting conversation. If you go to Washington County's website, their criteria exactly follows the governor's criteria. And the only criteria we're not hitting is just the testing.
And Clackamas County's website has none of that available that I can find.
I haven't gone to their website yet. So
Yeah, it's just, hey, we're Clackamas County. There's not even a COVID thing on. I mean, maybe anyway. But I was looking for a similar thing as what I found Washington and Multnomah, and
yeah, and if you go to the Washington County's website, there's not even job postings for contact tracers yet.
right.
So it's a little frustrating. So the numbers look really good. I don't know how deeply you guys follow the numbers, but the hospitalization, we only have like 22 people in hospitals for COVID right now in Washington County. I think it's like 59 statewide.
But that's just for, you're not counting the COVID presumed positive though in that, right?
Well, that's a little bit higher number for sure, but
It's a lot, yeah.
right, but it's our hospitalization rate for influenza type symptoms, which includes COVID, is actually below where it was last year for just a normal flu season. So
Oh, is it? Okay.
yeah, so we have lots of capacity. I think last time I looked, we had 15 people on ventilators. We have almost 800 ventilators in the state. I mean, from a capacity point of view, we're doing good. From PPE point of view, we're doing good, at least for the hospitals and the ones that need it out there. So
do you happen to know, this is kind of a strange question, but of the 14 people in Sherwood who have it, or had it, do you get, like, does anyone tell you if they got it community spread or in a specific?
That's another frustration. We're not, it was pulling teeth to get the zip code level data that you're referring to.
Yeah.
And if you noticed, even there was a lot of public health officials who were just whining the fact that the state gave that out, but we're not getting any data, any demographic data or contact history data.
Okay.
Zip code. The counties have that, and as far as I understand, their contact tracers are dealing with that, but there are some HIPAA issues and stuff like that.
Oh, absolutely. I was just more curious, just morbid curiosity about like, where are these people getting it? So.
Right. So.
I shouldn't say morbid curiosity. There's a bit more personal invested in it. But.
Yeah. It was, and just another, I'm going to get on my soapbox again about contact tracing. Several of the counties that were approved did not have all their contact tracers in place yet. They just had it, they could show their program to get there. So that was another reason we were a little frustrated, because Washington County didn't even apply.
But isn't it all about the money?
Washington County received $104 million in the CARES Act. They were one of 3 local agencies beyond the state that got money with that initial round of emergency funding from the federal government. That $104 million would cover all the things we're talking about here. County hasn't spent a dime. Yeah.
Well, because Multnomah, if you go to their site, their whole page about where they are is whining about how they didn't get enough money. We need the money. It's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. We need money. So I'm assuming that's what their issue is.
Well, Portland got $100 million too. And initially Multnomah County got nothing, because in the CARES Act, there was a little clause that says if you have a city in your county that's over 500 in population, the money goes to the city, not the county.
Oh.
And so that was they got that changed, but yeah, so they only got, I think they got like $20 million or something like that. I can't remember the exact number, but
I think it is 20. Yeah. And then they've got all these, we have this percentage of the population and we only got this. It's like they have 20% of the population and only 2% of the money or something like that.
Yeah. And that's another area of frustration, because the state got 1.3 billion. Washington County got 104 million. The cities got nothing.
Right.
So far, the cities have put out a lot of money, like Sherwood did our grant program. We have a utility relief program that's adding up to, we're probably going to be in the hole about 500,000 in our general fund. And the governor just told us, because Washington County got money, that she's not going to send any of the CARES money to Washington County cities. And Washington County has been telling us they're going to keep all the money, and they're not even giving the cities a seat at the table to get some of that money for programs. And so it's just crazy. I just wish in these times everybody could just pull together and just get things done. It's kind of crazy. I'm venting. I'm sorry. I shouldn't do that to you guys.
No, I find it interesting. I mean, it's hard to sort out all the noise out there.
This is just preparation for your KGW talk.
We're your media prep team.
Definitely need makeup if I'm going to do that. We'll see what happens. They may not. They might. There's a chance they don't even call me today, so you never know. Chuck, why the squirrel?
I just was on a walk around my neighborhood. I found a whole new trail that is like this cool little Fern Gully type of trail, a mile from my house, that I have never known was there up until Wednesday. And the squirrel was hanging out on the fence, came by and visited me. So I took a picture of him.
I'd offer to bring you more squirrels, but Ben calls me an environmental terrorist when I do that. So
Exactly.
I'm not allowed to do that anymore.
Well, and the second part is he tasted delicious for dinner that night.
You can't eat those kind. Those are the good kind behind you. You need to eat the gray diggers.
Oh.
Man,
I'll bring you gray diggers. I got lots.
Okay. We'll make jerky out of them.
Yeah. 1 strip per squirrel.
1 strip.
They're skinny little guys.
What is there about gray diggers that just totally turn you off? I mean,
Well, they're destructive.
General attitude problem.
Yes, that too. And I can't figure this out. I have a rooster who attacks me, but he'll stand there and let the squirrels go in and eat all the food from his girls. But I'm like, I don't know how that's possible.
They've got like a whole Charlotte's Web thing going on. There's probably something that squirrel's doing for him in the dark.
That's great. That's just what I need to put in my head right now. Notes in on it too, I guess.
It's a shades of gray digger.
This really puts the KGW interview into perspective.
Oh, Lord. After that, I think I'm just going to say no.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to leave the meeting.
All right.
My bad.
More than
I got to run too, folks. So,
all righty.
See you guys later.
Have a good weekend.
All righty. Bye.
You do. Bye.